Mr. Shanmugam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can I seek a clarification from Ms. Lim? She said that there was a trial balloon, the Prime Minister spoke last year, and because of the public reaction, the government backed down, but was stuck with this announcement, and therefore this announcement has been made of a future GST increase. Can I invite her to agree that that's a thoroughly hypocritical and dishonest statement, and typical of the statements she makes in this House? Let me explain. Would Ms. Lim agree that Prime Minister first talked about a tax increase during the National Day rally? I think it was in 2013. And that the Finance Minister talked about the tax increase in the budget last year, a year ago. And the Prime Minister, when he spoke about the likelihood of a tax increase late last year, reference to the Finance Minister's statement earlier in the year. Does she not know all these facts? And if one, with some common sense, puts those facts together with another set of facts, which is that DPM Tharman and the Prime Minister had said the government had enough funds for this term. You put those two sets of government positions together, is it not absolutely clear that A, we don't need money for this term, and B, we will need to raise taxes for the future? Given that the positions have been consistent, and Ms. Lim would also know that, for example, when we first talked about GST, it was mentioned in 1986, but came into force much later, I believe in 2004. 1994. So, given those sets of facts, would Ms. Lim be prepared to withdraw the very serious allegation she makes that this government announces something late last year, trial balloon, public react, we quickly back down, but we are stuck, basically making an accusation that the government is behaving willy-nilly, dishonestly, and if she will not withdraw those baseless suggestions, will she set out what the facts are for making the suggestion, whether she still stands by the suggestion and repeats it? Thank you, sir.
Ms. Sylvia Lim.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank the Law Minister for his questions, and I can understand why he wants to accuse me of various things, because he probably was not happy about past debates where I had disagreed with some of his legislative changes, and you know, in typical fashion, he always accuses me of dishonesty when, as far as I'm concerned, I acted honestly. Well, sir, the basis for my statement was that it is my belief that the announcements by the government earlier on that they had enough revenues for this term of government have now tied their hands as to when the GST increase can kick in. And of course, one can look at the principles that our government uses for budgeting, which are usually very conservative. And we've heard the Finance Minister also talk about the fact that we must be prepared for all contingencies. So if those announcements had not been made, we may be facing a GST increase in this budget statement. Now, as to the chronology of events that the Minister recited, I do not have them on hand. I have to go back and check, to be fair to him, but this is my honest belief.
Assuming the facts are as I have set them out, would you agree that the suggestions are baseless, and are you prepared to withdraw that this government behaved dishonestly?
Ms. Sylvia Lim.
So I never said that the government behaved dishonestly. I said that the government is stuck with the announcement that they have enough money for the decade.
No, No. The implication, based on what you've said, is that a trial balloon was floated with the obvious intention that a tax increase was going to be announced now. But because of the public reaction being so severe, the government has backtracked and has changed its mind and has announced it as a future tax increase. Isn't that what you're saying? And if that's not what you're saying, please say so clearly.
So I clearly said that it was my suspicion. I clearly said that. You can check the hands up.
So we
And
are.
it's my honest suspicion.
Yes.
If members
So am I not
can
entitled-
wait till I call them.
Am I not entitled to have a view?
Mr. Shan.
So we now have that confirmation that there was a suspicion. Now, does Ms. Lim agree that it doesn't accord with the standards of a first world parliament and honest debate for someone to come here and start talking about, this is my suspicion, I cannot back it up, it's contrary to all the facts. In fact, I haven't checked the facts. Now that you recount the facts, I'll go back and check, but I have my suspicions. Would she agree that that is contrary to the standards of a first world parliament? And secondly, I'm not the only one to accuse Ms. Lim of dishonesty. I think the phrase, a Latin phrase, will be ringing in her mind. Suppressio veri, suggestio falsi. Somebody very eminent, a high court judge, said that about Ms. Lim. Thank you.
Ms. Sylvia Lim. Fortunately, we don't have translators for Latin.
Speaker, sir, as far as I know, there's such a thing as parliamentary privilege. And if I recall earlier debates, even PAP MPs were encouraged to come to the House to convey even rumors so that the government has the opportunity to refute them. This is the value of this chamber. And I do not agree with the minister that I'm somehow not up to the standard. And of course, you know, this is what we as MPs have to do to get better clarity on matters of public interest. Of course, the government can rebut our speeches robustly. That's fine. But I don't think I'm disentitled to come to Parliament to advance honestly held beliefs or suspicions.
Within limits. Minister for Finance.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Now, I want to thank my colleague, Minister Shanmugam, for reminding me that I have not answered this part of Ms. Lim's question. Now, Ms. Lim says that, you are saying this on suspicion. And I believe Ms. Lim is a lawyer and also a police officer before. So, I too have been a police officer before. So we know that the first thing that when we have a suspicion is to go out and interview witnesses as part of our investigation. Now, I want to present myself as your witness because I've been working on this ever since I became finance minister. I want to confirm that the statement made by DPM government that we have enough revenues due this term of government is correct. We have done all our projections, and that is an accurate and truthful statement. In fact, if you were to look at circumstantial evidence, right, why did I not set a timeline for that? And I said that it depends on the prevailing economic conditions. It depends on a number of factors which I will continue to carefully monitor, and that we must not get distracted with one-off events, one-off surpluses. I made that very clear in my statement. And if indeed we were so short, wouldn't it be the logical thing to say, let's do it now and find some ways to do it? We did not. And I said that it's between 2021 to 2025. So I think having told you that I've been working on this ever since I became finance minister to look at all our revenue projections and expenditure projections again. and discussed with the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Ministers that statement is correct. Right? It is an honest assessment of our position, which remains accurate till today. And that is why I did not have to do a GST increase now in this budget. So it was not a case of floating any trial balloon. And if you remember that I said it at the last budget, that we have to look for revenue measures, I said it again at a constituency visit at Cairnhill Moment a few months after that. And then the Prime Minister said it in November last year. So on the basis of all the evidence that I'm offering, would Ms. Lim withdraw your comment?
Sylvia Lim.
So I've listened to the Finance Minister's response. I still feel that there's nothing wrong with what I said, but I've noted his answer.